So welcome back to all my viewers that are genuinely curious about new technologies like lithium iron phosphate. If you're into preparation, solar backup, power stations, outdoor boating, or have an RV, you may want to watch this episode. So I have been genuinely curious for the last several years about lithium iron phosphate batteries, especially for deep cycle situations. Let's face it, the old lead acid batteries are becoming a thing of the past, and they have a lot of negatives going for them. Now with that said, lithium batteries have been outrageous over the years, but the technology has become so popular now, well, the price has come down significantly. So for example, if you look at, well, basically the same size battery in lithium iron phosphate versus your old lead acid battery, these are a little over twice as much money. But the question is, and what we're going to answer today and over the next few days as I run some tests, is this battery really twice the money as this when you really look at the details and the specs? I'm not convinced that it is. So a good test platform for me is I have two boats that both run 24-volt trolling motors. My big boat just had the interstate batteries, these identical models, go completely bad. One still holds a charge, one will not take a charge at all anymore. The batteries just hit 5 years old. That is probably the most common lifespan I see out of a lead acid battery, roughly 4 to 5 years, and you can just about count on them going dead on you. So that brings us to our first point, one key point that I really want to talk about. A lot of people don't realize the life cycle of a lithium battery. Well, they claim 10 years on this particular model. By the way, I got these two batteries from a company called Dr.Prepare. Obviously, they sell batteries for solar power, backup situations, and everything else that I just mentioned. I have a link down in the description if you want to go check these batteries out. But they make a claim that they offer a 10-year warranty on this battery. I'm assuming that's most likely prorated like most batteries are. I think they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on these, and they also make a claim that you get 3,000 life cycles, discharge and recharge cycles out of a battery like this before you hit an 80% threshold. Doesn't mean the battery went dead, it means it's 80% of original capacity. Your typical lead acid batteries get about 500 charges is kind of industry standard. Now that's going to vary as well. So if we take those two claims into consideration, the fact that we get twice the life out of this battery as a traditional lead acid battery, and many times the charge cycles, well, then when you look at a battery like this that's a little over $300, you look at a battery like this that I just priced is $145, that's cost a little over twice as much, but you're literally getting twice the life out of it and way more charge cycles. That's going to be really important to people in off-grid and preparing situations where there may be discharging and recharging these a lot. So essentially you're paying very near the same because you're going to replace this battery twice the amount of time that you own this, in theory. So the biggest reason by far I have been highly interested in these batteries is weight, and weight is critical either in an RV, especially on a boat. These lead acid batteries are so heavy, it literally causes my fishing boat right here to constantly lean. Okay, so I got my handy dandy scale out here. Let's go ahead and let that zero out. And let's take one of these lead acid batteries right here. Oh my goodness, it's so heavy. So check that out, right at 50 pounds, 49 pounds, 13 ounces for a single battery. And I have two in this boat, 100 pounds of weight sitting right over there. These are actually heavier than I was thinking. So now, let's see what the lithium battery weighs. So 23 pounds, 3 ounces. That is less than half the weight of the other battery. So now I'm about to put two batteries in this boat and they're gonna weigh less than one of the batteries that I'm taking out. That's just crazy. I can't get over how lightweight this is. You're not doing this with any other battery, especially no lead battery. So that's what has really piqued my interest. Now the question is, are the lead acid batteries better, especially for a situation where you're having high draw and continuous draw like a trolling motor? So we're gonna install these today. I'm gonna find some time over the next couple of days, even though we have horrible cold, rainy weather on the way, to try to run this. We're gonna include that in the video. We're gonna look at some recharge rates, discharge rates. Let's go ahead and get these installed, and we need to talk about something else that's important that does have an additional cost whenever you move over to these type of batteries. So one important thing to mention if you're going to take the leap and invest in the new lithium batteries, well, if you have an old charger on your boat, RV, for example, it will not work. That's the bummer. But with technology and everything seeming to be moving toward these batteries, at a certain point, you've kind of just got to bite the bullet, go with the flow of technology. So I got on Amazon and purchased one of these Genius battery chargers right here. It's a waterproof, it's made to mount onboard 2-bank charger, and it just so happens it has the function for all your traditional batteries, as well as it has a mode for lithium iron phosphate batteries. So let's talk charging real quick. This may be some features that you want to know about. What you also don't realize about these batteries is they're quite smart. They have a battery management system built in that monitors everything from overcurrent, over discharging, temperatures, too high temperature, too low temperature. It can actually shut off those functions, charging, discharging, things such as that, to protect itself. This is a truly smart battery. Another thing that you need to note, not all lithium iron phosphate batteries are set up for wiring in series, for example, which is what we typically do on boats. We'll connect a positive and negative terminal together on 2 separate batteries, and then have a positive negative left right here to run to the trolling motor. That takes 2 12-volt batteries and bumps us up to 24 volts. But obviously they do offer a model right here that is able to do that. Okay, so just in case you're unfamiliar with how to wire in series or parallel, we'll give you a quick crash course as I wire these up, because I know typically my viewers are interested in this kind of information and content. So for starters, these 2 wires right here are coming from my 24-volt trolling motor. If I had a 12-volt trolling motor, well, we would just hook positive to positive on the battery, negative to negative, and have 12 volts in a single battery. We'd be good to go. But because we need to get 2 batteries up to 24 volts, we have to wire them in series. So let's start. So here is one set of leads. I've got a 2-bank battery charger because I have 2 batteries. They have to charge each individual battery. That's why I have 2 sets of wires. So for starters, we'll go ahead and hook up the positive to the positive on this first battery, and then negative to the negative, but we need to do a jumper. Again, we're trying to series up to 24 volts. Now here's the thing, it does not matter if I put this made up jumper wire right here on the positive or negative, as long as it goes to the opposite on the other battery. So we'll just do it on the negative right here. Almost forgot the trolling motor hookup. So here's the trolling motor positive lead. There is my battery charger positive lead. Snug those down. We don't want to go too tight on batteries ever. And we'll tighten down this negative side that has the jumper wire on it. Okay, quick recap. Positive from the trolling motor on the positive side of the battery. Negative jumper on the negative side, and then positive and negative proper hookup from my battery charger. Okay, now for the second battery. Here is that jumper wire that is hooked to the negative on the other battery, and here is the negative from my trolling motor. So let's start with the negative from the trolling motor. Let's get my next set of battery charging cables. Let's get that hooked up. Now let's take the jumper coming from the negative on the other battery, hook it to the positive on this battery, so we series and go up to 24 volts. And now we have successfully wired our trolling motor to 24 volts. So here's the thing. If we were talking parallel, that means I would run a jumper from this battery, from the negative to the negative on the other battery, a jumper from the positive to the positive on the other battery, and then you would hook up your positive and negative to the trolling motor. That's if we were going to hook 2 batteries together but maintain 12 volts. You have to do that negative to positive crossover and then hook up to the negative on one battery, positive on the other, to your source to get that 24 volts. Hopefully that makes sense. Now these batteries are practically identical in size to the Group 27 batteries that I just took out of here, with the exception they do look just ever so slightly wider. So it's a snug fit in my battery tray, but it does fit. All the other dimensions looked identical. All right, so we're about to take the boat out and run some tests. While the charger is hooked up, I want to show the actual voltage here. Hopefully it shows up on this little camera screen. 13.76 volts while the charger is engaged. That's a little lower than I was expecting, according to what I read on the internet, but it's definitely charging. All right, so I'm just barreling through some extremely thick grass here, putting this trolling motor in a heck of a bind, which has got to be using up quite a bit of battery power. This is kind of the stuff I'm going to be going through all day long. All right, so some people may wonder why I'm running a 24-volt trolling motor on a relatively small boat. You can see the current in these rivers that I fish. Look at the grass, the way it's just whipping. And I really like to fish upstream a lot of times. I'll fish down and then work my way back up. And as you can see, even on number 4 power, this 24-volt trolling motor is pulling me up current just fine. Right now, I'm just holding steady in the current, fishing a deep hole right up here in front of me. This is just about impossible to do with a regular 12-volt trolling motor. And if I were to bump this on up to 6 or 7, it'll pull me up this current no problem. You can see I'm starting to pull up current now, even on speed 4. And honestly, I can say I feel like my trolling motor is stronger on these lithium batteries, and it's probably due to the voltage. I've been fishing a couple hours now, and I'm still well over 13 volts. And my trolling motor just feels stronger than normal. It really does. Just couldn't help yourself, could you? Golly. You just couldn't stand it, could you? Just had to jump in. Hey boy, I don't know if you realize it's cold, it's jacket weather. Why on earth did you jump in, you crazy dog? This dog is obsessed with water, y'all. Well, you're gonna have a cold ride back now, buddy. Don't be wiping off on me. You the one that jumped in. Couldn't stand it. Oh, here we go. All right. All right, what we got here? A little largemouth bass. Nope, a little red eye. What you think about that? What you think about that, buddy? All right. Calm down, calm down. Oh man, there's bass all underneath me. All right, little old red eye bass. How about that? Here we go. Got another one. All right. That little guy. Oh, he got off. Sorry, buddy. No fish that time. All right, y'all, as y'all can see, it's getting later in the afternoon and we have a nasty cold front rolling in, bringing some extremely cold weather with it. I want to beat that. All right, so I've been out here fishing for a few hours. Let's see where we're at on voltage. So I started out down here at 13.36 is where it ultimately settled out after charging. All right, after a few hours of fishing, we're at 13.24 volts. So from 13.36 down to 13.24. There's charts online where you can check that. But I still feel like that Genius charger's not getting this up to quite full capacity. I'll have to look into that. Regardless, I've fished several hours. I can't tell a difference in the battery. My trolling motor feels stronger than it ever has. It honestly does feel stronger than when it was on the lead acid batteries. I have fished downriver through thick grass. I have fished up current. I've tried to purposely bind this up in thick grass and debris, which this river's loaded with. Never once did the trolling motor not fling the grass off and keep on going. All right, so a couple of key takeaways that are definitely worth mentioning. Lithium batteries. so much lighter. I can tell you my boat is already handling better. Taking 50 pounds out of the front of a boat, especially weight sensitive boats like this, makes a big difference. I'm cornering better. I've actually picked up 1 mile an hour in speed. I gained more there taking 50 plus pounds out than I was expecting, but the boat does handle and feel better. So that was awesome. Now with that said, the biggest question is going to be, how long do these last? Do you get the full 10 plus years out of them? There's several thousand cycles. Time's going to have to be out for that verdict right there. But if you do get that 10 years, technically these don't really cost any more than your typical lead acid batteries, and they definitely don't cost more than your AGM or sealed acid batteries. Those are quite a bit more expensive, and they typically don't get any more lifetime out than your standard lead acid battery. Another couple key points worth mentioning with these batteries, as I'm researching and learning about them, they are much more efficient than a lead acid battery. Not only do they charge quicker, they don't overheat the same, and their discharge rate's better. Not to mention it's discharging at higher voltages. Literally this just continues to work down in that 13 volt range, whereas a lead acid battery starts out at 12 something, and by the time you get down to 10 and a half, which it gets there relatively quickly, you're at 50% discharge rate. That is something totally worth mentioning here that I did not realize existed with lithium batteries. There's something called depth of discharge, DOD. And on your typical lead acid battery, you cannot discharge more than 50%. We've all heard the rule our whole life. If you discharge below about 10.5 volts or 50% capacity, usually you cause damage, permanent damage to that lead acid battery. It's never going to be the same again. Now, lithium batteries claim, a lot of them claim they can do up to 100%, but it seems to be the rule of thumb is 80% DOD, or depth of discharge. That's what this manufacturer also claims in their booklet as well. They claim that you'll get the full 3,000 recharge cycles if you always depth of discharge 80% or less. So keep that in mind. Now out here on the water, I can discharge my battery 30% more than I can a lead acid battery and not have to worry about any ill effects. So technically I can run even longer on these batteries. So couple that with whenever you get back from fishing, you can recharge them at a higher and faster rate. This is just kind of a win-win. Lithium batteries, the new technology, they've come down in price, and if you look at the longevity plus all the benefits, including the battery management system, basically a built-in computer that controls your overcurrent, your discharge, temperature, everything. You don't get none of that stuff with lead acid. You damage it, you damage it. That's just all there is to it. All right, so as soon as we can get past all this cold weather, I'm gonna go do a little more fishing, run these batteries some more. I'll put a video out on our other channel if you wanna check it out. And be sure to check the link down in the description for these batteries. You can get all the information that you need. If there's any discount codes or anything like that, I'll also put that down in the description. I think these batteries are an absolute winner. I really do. I'm personally gonna start swapping all of my lead acid deep cycle batteries out. I don't think I'm ever going back. Just the weight savings alone, plus all the other benefits I mentioned, they're totally worth it. All right, hopefully you found this useful and gained some knowledge like I did. Catch you on the next video.